game when all of the stress is on, how the interplay is between you and other members of your team.
Absolutely. Now we're going to be going into Watchpoint Gibraltar, and it is going to be a good one, I'd imagine. It's a favourite map of pretty much every team, as we mentioned. And what are you expecting to see here? I mean, we've watched it before earlier today with the Code 7 Envious game, and they pretty much neglected that entire first point, as you see teams do, and chose to take very passive holds from the second positioning. Can you anticipate something very similar to it?
Yeah, we really haven't seen teams hold forward on Watchpoint Gibraltar for a long time, because the attackers have such a spawn advantage, and as soon as you get overwhelmed, you really lose all of your ability to defend that first checkpoint. They can just keep rolling it forwards, so they tend to give up this entire down the slope area, just peek it out, see if they can get some early intel, and that's what Seagull's going to be doing at this point. We saw it highlighted yesterday on Watchpoint Gibraltar. He has the ability to spam out the sonic arrow and see whether he can pick off any intelligence. That's all he's going for here on Hanzo, is just as the timer ticks down, as we reach about 18 seconds, you'll see him fire a sonic arrow in the air that allows him enough time to get back to his team and still have the intel from the sonic arrow. The wall hacks there just going to allow him to see what composition Cloud9 are running on the offense. As for the rest of his team, they've got Gods on Soldier 76 and Enigma on Roadhog. Enigma, of course, an excellent Roadhog, and Tracer, just an all-round good player, really, but yeah. He's going to be really cool along with the Gods.
Well, here we are. The countdown has begun. The teams are going to start to try and take this payload all the way in. It's going to be Cloud9, the ones attacking in the end, with, as we said, LG on the defense. And we do see Surefour. He's going to be spamming them from above with those damage boost rocket, trying to basically build up his barrage if he potentially can get off any early damage, even potentially a pick if he's lucky. But there's going to be no positioning for him to take advantage of here just yet. And as the cart gets pushed in now, Sideshow, they're wiggling their way around. Gods, it's a very passive high ground hold here by LG. They don't want to give up any room, or I should say, they don't want to give up any positioning disadvantages. And already we're seeing a little bit of a stalemate at this cart. Seagull is starting to spam it out a bit. The high ground is going to be started taken now by Cloud9. The shield popped up by Kiki, as he is going to try and allow Surefour to spam. We're going to see some initiations now. Kiki already jumping all the way in on the Winston. He's right on the back of Gods. Reaver picks up Milo in the end, and this is where the frags really start to happen. The Resurrects are available on both these teams now, and it's really a matter of who can pop theirs last. At this point, it looks like LG are going to be the first ones to pop theirs, so we are going to see really now Cloud9 taking this fight to the fullest of their advantage. They haven't even popped off their ultimates whatsoever yet. Reaver picks up another one onto Milo as he just pops up, and that's going to be the first cap once again in probably one of the most quickest fashions I've ever seen.
Yeah, the positioning there from Luminosity just wasn't that good. Kaikai was able to pressure out the Soldier 76 of Gods, and was able to also pressure down Indus, so a huge amount of work being done by the Winston. They had no counter Winston to alleviate any kind of pressure. They're running Milo on Reinhardt, and that just let them down a little bit in terms of where positioned on their first checkpoint defense. But now we'll see whether Luminosity Gaming decide to try and reinitiate and take control of this spaceship. Control the spaceship, control the universe at the moment. So they actually don't look like they want to recontest this one. Just waiting outside for the moment. I thought we would see a speed boost re-engage, but they're just making their way in super slowly. They haven't seen the Reaper underneath. Yes, they have actually spotted him now. He's taking a 1v1. Reaver on the Reaper against Enigma in that 1v1 situation, but Surefour's taking out Seagull as well, and pops off his rocket barrage, shreds the shield from Milo, and they are going to get that frag onto him as well. And the cart just has continued to push. It hasn't been slowed at any point here.
What's going on with LG here? They seem to be, I don't know if it's communication issues or what, but they're getting torn to pieces with these engagements, and Seagull's going to get taken down as well, as Kiki just jumps right onto the back lines and does take him out with a mid-air lightning rail. It's not exactly the hardest thing in the world to aim, but it did get the job done at the end of the day. And now we see them, they have a few ultimates on them. They've got the Earth Shatter on Debit, Kiki's got his Primal Rage, Sound Barrier as well. Adam doesn't have his Resurrect available, so the fight would be not a very good one to take, but it does build so quickly that I'm sure he's going to have it as they look to take the engagement now. And here we are. Kiki pops off his Primal Raid. Here comes the Death Blossom as well by Reaver. The Sound Barrier going to be popped off by LG as they're trying to take this fight any way they possibly can. Seagull is trying to basically rain these rockets from above while being damage boost, trying to help his team. Enigma picks up the 2k onto Adam. Adam does get his Resurrection just off in the nick of time, but those are two very big picks that they can work off 100% now. LG starting to gain a foothold once again. They're pushing Cloud9 all the way back now, and they've got no choice but to regroup here. and look to repush once their entire team is up.
Both of the teams do have a Resurrect available. The other ultimates have yet to be built, though. Both of the teams a little way away from it, so this is going to be a fairly dry engagement from Cloud9 as they attempt to get this one forward. Milo is going to be the first one to initiate onto Debed, but he gets a nice little photon shield applied to him by Kaka, who is now on Zarya rather than Winston. Surefour's up over the top as well, dueling it out with Seagull, who hits a huge rocket onto him, takes down Surefour with that damage boost, and they've managed to pick up the Zarya as well. Here comes the Resto, and this could be indicating that Cloud9 want to re-engage. It's 6v6 for both of these teams, though, and this is still going to be a bit of a struggle for Cloud9.
Especially with Inder still holding onto his Resurrect. They know any fight they take here is not going to be great. The Earth Shatter popped off by Milo, only connecting onto one. Along with that, they're trying to get the damage in if they potentially can. Tibet has managed to find hooks, and he finds a second one on Enigma as well. But Inder still has his Resurrection. He's finally going to be popping it off now. So this is really where the fight begins to take effect now. The Earth Shatter once again. Tibet just putting in so much work as he's completely crushed Gods in the end. And look at this positioning by Cloud9. They're not afraid to just storm them forward. Here comes the sound barrier. They're pushing all the way in. Reaver with the Death Blossom is going to pick up 2. Surefour finishes up Seagull. And there again, Surefour just pops off his barrage. And that is probably one of the faster times you're going to see on Gibraltar today.
That is a really quick time on Gibraltar, actually. Gibraltar's a really long map as well. It's the only escort map with 4 checkpoints. And they managed to just roll it through there. Super quick time set by Cloud9. They weren't stopped at any point other than that final bend just for a team fight or 2. But Luminosity looked to be really shaky actually on their defense. They set up a passive position on the first checkpoint, but it didn't work out for them at all. They hadn't taken control of the high ground, and they just kind of gave it up to the Winston of Kaikai, who jumped in there and was causing a huge amount of distraction. Cloud9 were then just able to roll it all the way through the hangar, take that momentum really deep, because it was a full team wipe from Luminosity, and they took so long to stabilize. This is going to be super tough for LG.
Yeah, I think the thought process behind the passive hold on the first point was purely just so they could gain an even better foothold in the hang area, but it just backfired on them when they got the delayed kills basically, and completely dragged out the respawns. And yeah, we're gonna see it's gonna be hard for LG to beat, especially a rapid time like that. But I definitely think they're capable of it. We're not going to see any of the strategic Hanzo picks by Cloud9. They're not too desperate for that information like LG was, and it's going to be a pretty standard hold so far from what we can see of the defending team.
Yeah, they do have the Winston up, which wasn't present for Luminosity's defense, and what that allows them to do, if you look at the positioning here of Debet, he's actually just dropped off there, but he was on the top ground where Reaver is currently positioned, and that area was given up really easily by Luminosity, and Cloud9 were able to take control of that top ground and initiate their fight from there, and so Debet and Reaver are going to make sure that that is not given up easily whatsoever.
Yeah, well, they're going to be rolling out the cart now, taking that forward position. We see Gods on the Winston. He has got a little bit of information for his team. He does know that they're holding quite far back on that upper balcony area. I'm not really giving them any room to peek there, but Reaver is hiding around the corner on Reaper, just waiting patiently. Look at him, like a predator in the night. And he's just waiting for the opportunity to strike now, and they have no clue whatsoever really what's about to be unleashed upon them if he can hit his shots in this scenario. And there comes the Photon Shield along with the follow-up from Debet. They're trying to basically pick up any kills they possibly can. Not going to get anything off it, unfortunately, but this is where the initiation starts to kick off now. We already see one kill going away as Seagull picks one player up, and then another one as well as Debet's going to be falling now. And this is looking really, really good so far for LG, but Kiki, he's on 100% charge, and he is just laser beaming absolutely everyone. Just no one can really stand in his way. You did mention he is one of the best Zarya players in the world currently. He's doing a bloody good job of keeping him off the point. However, with his rockets, going to be popping a barrage, and Adam is going to be falling, so that's no mercy whatsoever for Cloud9. They cannot afford to really hold this now. Tibet's going to be trying his hardest to try and force them off, but Gods is going to be quick to clean him up with no issues whatsoever. And already, look at this forward positioning by Gods. He's just taking the fight straight to them into that ship area. He knows how important it is to hold that.
He certainly does, but unfortunately goes down. Seagull's giving him a bit of backup. Now he gets attached to his Mercy. That's going to give him the damage boost and the healing, but Surefour's here in the Pharah Mercy combo. And they're going to be attempting to engage and fight this one out, because whoever controls the high ground in the hangar has a huge advantage. Cloud9 actually running that Roadhog as well, which finds the early pick onto Enigma, who had switched off to Tracer. So we've got some slight adjustments to the hero composition as we go into the hangar phase, because they need a lot of verticality, a lot of distraction as well, and they're going to be attempting to hug people. Surefour so far up in the air now, connected to Adam with his little tether, along with Indus and Seagull, who have just been slightly separated for a moment, but both of these Pharah Mercy combos distracted onto each other. Now Debet comes in to help and tries to engage from Cloud9, pops off his Primal Rage as well, so he's going to be trying to get onto everybody else. Enigma has switched off as well to Zarya, but in comes the Death Blossom from Reaver, going to be pounding in a load of damage onto them. Does find the frag along with Surefour's one onto Indus, and they should be able to crush the offense from LG. Milo's going to pop up his Primal Rage just at the end of that fight, but is also going to get taken down, and that's a successful defense in that first team fight by Cloud9. And I think crucially there, Luminosity were not able to get control of the high ground at any point. Surefour and his Mercy, Adam, is on point.
Now we see them, they're trying to take this initiation. LG do not yet have their Resurrect to work off, so they cannot afford to take any dangerous fights where the entirety of their team is going to be wiped. They need to be very careful and patient with this. Enigma picks up the first kill. Can he get any more? That is the question. Kai, he's popped off his whole hog, but at the end of the day, the sound barrier has come out for LG, and now the table is turning slowly but surely for them. They may be able to take this fight, this engagement. Indus does fall just, he's on 66%, so he didn't have his Resurrect available just yet. Surefour going to be popping off the barrage, picks up 2, Debet follows up with another one, and they might get the 5th as well, as he's just chasing them down here. He thinks second of it. The team's just going to back off now, and that is a hold by Cloud9 if I've ever seen one.
They're running this Zarya Winston combo on Luminosity, and it's working fairly well for them, but Enigma hasn't had an opportunity to use that Graviton Surge in a good position, but they absolutely have to take control of this top ground. It's so important that Seagull's able to do it, and he's hitting some fat rockets at the moment, still attached. He's just missed that upwards direct, but Surefour has retained control of the high ground, going to be slamming those rockets in and gets a sick direct. Dust takes him out of the situation there. Seagull trying to reply onto Surefour, but these rockets so difficult to hit, and it's actually Seagull that goes down. Surefour and Adam reign supreme. The skies are theirs, and now that they have retained that aerial superiority, they've got a great situation. Look at that though, the Graviton Surge wasted by Enigma, because all of his DPS heroes had already been killed, so lack of communication there possibly from Luminosity Gaming, which means that his ultimate that he'd taken so long to build up completely wasted.
I was thinking he's either thinking about switching off Zarya, or that was a mispressed key, because there's no situation where you'd want to just pop that off on Dirt 4 when you didn't have any damage dealers. But now they're going to be trying to initiate in the whole hog, hooked up by Kai once again, along with the Death Blossom by Reaver. Can he get the frags? Enigma has managed to bring him down, but it's Surefour with the barrage from above. It's going to be taking down any survivors in this engagement. 2 players left alive. Milo, the last man standing, or the last gorilla standing, as he leaps to his death in the end. And once again, Cloud9, they hold it fast. Enigma calls GG.